How do we achieve such consistent results like this, where we've done so for 68 members inside the Gorilla Platoon? I'm going to give you 3 traits that they all had in order to achieve the transformation that they set out to do so. So let's waste no time and roll straight in. Now, one thing I will say about the Gorilla Platoon is, for sure, it is an absolute given that you'll be given a proper meal plan that will be manipulated in order for you to get down to that lean level that you desire. It's an absolute necessity that we watch all of your form clips each and every week to make sure how you're training on the gym floor correlates with what is needed to get done in order to grow muscle. You're lifting correct tempo, range of motion, arm paths right, and then intensity. So, we're monitoring about 10 clips for each of our members when they send those in. That's an absolute given. That is like basic, obvious stuff that you would get. But the way I think we're able to get results from this is we don't really focus on what you need to do. We focus on who you need to become. You see, I think a lot of you know what you need to do. For the longest of time, you've known what you needed to do, but you don't actually apply it. So what we focus on is your character. We do this by, as soon as you join, you'll complete the 2.0 version of you lecture and really map out that new version of you. Because for the longest of time, you try to go from where you are now to where you want to get to. Let's call this A. You want to get up here to B. But the main issue is, let's draw some V-taper lats on this guy. The main issue is, if you try and do that, you'll get about 2 weeks in, and then you'll snap back to the old version of you. So, and you probably felt this, like you probably maybe even got like a few weeks in, or let's say you snap back and you made a bit of progress forward, and then you snap back, then forward, then sideways, and left and right, and then a bit of progress forward. But you've wasted so much time, so much inefficiency of trying to go from A to B. The main way you go from A to B is not by actually trying to go from A to B. It's by acting like the guy that is at B. You want to become a doctor, act like a doctor would be. You want to become an astronaut, act like a fucking astronaut. You want to become an athlete, act like an athlete. So you want to drop any limiting beliefs as to why you couldn't get to the goal. Because if I was to put 2 like blurred images up on screen, you can just about see what someone's doing. You can see that, cool, they're both getting up early, turning a 6 a.m. alarm off, they're both drinking water, they're both going out walking, they're both doing gym, they're both food prepping. You can see the food, it looks clear and chicken. And you can see that within a given day, this is how an athlete would live. That said, if I peeled back the blurs, one guy was a physical athlete, and the other guy was actually 30% body fat, you wouldn't have known the difference. You'd have thought that was 2 athletes. Because athlete is more of a lifestyle than an actual end state. You become an athlete by doing that day after day, not by like getting to a point of like, right, now I'm an athlete. No. It starts from the day you decide to make that change. It starts when you decide who you need to become. So we like to focus on developing your character first, because if we develop your character, it's gonna feel like you're swimming downstream towards the goal rather than swimming upstream. One thing I will say is, and if you look back across your life, whenever you've achieved something or been really, really fulfilled, more than likely it's because you achieved something that was quite hard, quite tough, and you look back, you're like, yeah, I'm proud of myself, I did that. Maybe you walked like up this big mountain, maybe you did like a full day's graft, digging out some old lady's garden. Whatever you did, more than likely, if you were really fulfilled, it's because of some sacrifice you put in, some work you put in, some hardship you went through, some risks you took, or some stories you had to tell. Which then begs the point that the only way, if you're like me and then the other guys that are in the Gorilla Platoon, if you're anything like us, your fulfillment is going to come from discipline and doing the right thing towards a better version of you. Your fulfillment is going to come from daily progress of becoming a better version of you. I call this the 2.0 version of you, the athlete version of you. That's where true fulfillment comes from. I'm very fulfilled after dusting my hands off, knowing I did the work today. Like yesterday, I was a little bit like tired and stuff after the weekend where we ran our event and some Gorilla Platoon members met up. I was a bit tired. It was a bit like almost like it had been the pinnacle of a meetup, and then after I was kind of like needed a bit of a rest day. But I knew I still had the work that needed to be done. I still needed to get YouTube's filmed, check-ins and whatnot done. And I just sat there and thought, no, this is the discipline I must do. This is the privilege I must have to run the Guerrilla Platoon. So I sat down, even though I didn't feel like it to begin with, and actually I grew into it where I actually did really feel like it. And by the end, I dusted my hands off at the end of the day, knowing everything had been boxed. Check-ins, WhatsApps, YouTube, everything was clear. And I could go to bed a happy man, knowing that I did what I was supposed to there. And that's where true fulfillment's going to come. For sure, you can find happiness in like food. You can find happiness in holidays, in travel, and you should absolutely try all of those things. Don't ever get this wrong. I'll never tell you to like sit at home and be a hermit, even though some days it's like that for me. I'll never tell you to do that. I'll tell you to go see every corner of the earth, drive whatever car you can, eat whatever food you want. Like, I'll tell you, enjoy life's fruits, because you're only here for you're here for a good amount of time, really, let's be honest. But you shouldn't really put a cap on anything on your life. Like, you should do what you want. It's your life. No one's got really power over you, as long as you don't let them. So I'll never tell you to stop that. But when it comes to true fulfillment, I've not found more fulfillment in those things versus like guys coming across their country to come and see me, or like getting results for people, or just like doing all the work I should have done, even though it was a long, hard day. That's where true fulfillments come from. Now, why do I bring this point up? Because in your transformation journey, if you can find the love in knowing that you did your steps when you didn't feel like it, you ate the clean food even though you wanted something else, you trained, you got that session in, you actually PR'd even though you know it was going to be painful, and then you were disciplined enough to go to bed early, you're going to feel very fulfilled and content about yourself after that day's graft. You stack that up for long enough, how is your mental health going to be? Through the absolute roof. You will have so much respect for yourself that you will be able to go and take on anything. So your whole world starts to open up. I'm just a basic guy from the north of England. I really, really am. I'm not special. I started off in the army, didn't really know what else I wanted to do, became a paratrooper, and I've always just really dialed in discipline and doing what I should. And no matter what stage of the game I was at, I was just as fulfilled going through training to be a British paratrooper as I was going through training to learn how to get results like this, as I was actually like trialing and starting off the Guerrilla Platoon. I found just as much fulfillment in each of those points. I've also tried travel and stuff. I've been to a few countries. I've tried driving like cars and stuff. And honestly, that stuff's nice. It's very, very nice. I'm glad I've done it. But it never brought me the same fulfillment as like the struggle of going and trying to get up to the next level. That's where I found true fulfillment in. So I would say to you, try to find the love in the game of actually getting to that 10% body fat. Rather than like focusing on the 10% body fat, find the fulfillment in the daily discipline that you've done towards being a better version of you. And that's what I instill to members in here. And when you do that, you look forward to the next day of cashing in another day towards that better version of you. And then another day, and then another day. So again, you generally believe you can take on the world. And as a result, you end up with a six-pack. Yeah, cool. But like most importantly, your mental health is probably one of the, like, in the top 5% across like humanity, because most people are depressed at the minute anyway. So if you're feeling good about yourself because you've done the daily disciplines, anything's there for the taking. It really, really is. And I've found that across the last 2 years. So that's the first and the main thing we want to do. What do you need to do? Who do you need to become? That's what we want to focus on. The second point is more for one when you are in the trenches and you are fucking fatigued, you're tired, you're hungry, and I'm telling you, keep going, you're like, oh God. We want to understand that nothing is a bridge too far. Let's say you're going up a mountain, may have heard of the term false summit, where it looks like the summit, but it's not, it keeps going. You need to believe that no false summit is too far beyond your reach. If it needs to get done, you can get it done. And the mindset you want to have for this is, fitness is the infinite game, meaning you can't complete it. You can complete phases, absolutely, but you can't complete the overall game, which means there's always going to need to be a next summit to attack, another bridge to go and roll over. And why I say that is, if you think this has got an end point and then you need to push on like 2 weeks more to really perfect the condition, if that happens and you don't see this as an infinite game, you just see this as an end point for a photo, you'll sack it. You won't put the effort in past the point you thought you were going to work, because you'll just run out of steam. You'll run out of like internal zest. But if you believe, well, this is just the end of the phase anyway, and then from there I'm going to be into the next phase, reversing out of my diet, and then into a gaining phase, and then into another mini cut. Like, if you believe you're going to be doing this forever, what's an extra week on a plan of something that you're going to be doing forever. Nothing. It's literally irrelevant, isn't it? So if you need an extra 2 weeks to get to that end goal and you're fatigued, you're tired, you're hungry, but you know you're going to be playing this dance forever, it's just, we're just going to manipulate the phases now, you'll not mind, and you'll still push with the same amount of energy and zest towards that goal. The third point, which we mentioned as to how we get results like this, is it really comes down to what's your standard in life. And this can go across anything. And I say it's like the cleanliness of your toilet seat, the length of your hair, how often you'll get that cut, the money in your bank account, the body fat on your body. Now, your standard is a reflection of how much self-worth you have for yourself. Because think about it. If you had the highest amount of self-worth for yourself, are you really going to let your hair get scruffy and out of like date 3 weeks down the line? Are you really going to let yourself get too soft with high body fat? Are you really going to have an absolute pigsty of a place that you live in? Probably not. If you've got really high standards for yourself, probably not. Are you really going to let like people that you know are not good for you sit and just fucking yap at you, chatting shit, bringing your frequency down and giving you bad energy? Probably not. If you've got really high standards for yourself, you're probably not going to be around those people. The same way for the partner that you have. If you've got really high standards for yourself, you're not going to accept a lower person. So the reason I mention this is if you have lower standards, it's going to be nigh on impossible to get to the goal, because you're going to be okay with, cool, well, I got to 15% body fat. At least I'm not 30. Rather than like the goal was actually 10%. The goal was for you to look electric, but you just settled for 15. And that's honestly man's greatest weakness. If you settle in any cause in your life, like that's the cardinal sin in my opinion, because no one's special. No one's special on this earth, and you can go and achieve whatever you want to, but it's only as far as your brain can see, think, and believe. So if you don't believe you can amount to much, you really, really won't. But the people that have got the things you want to are just people. If it's been done by a human, it can be done by you. And one thing I instill in the guys is you must believe that with enough time and effort, you can go and achieve whatever you want from life. You must have enough arrogant zest behind closed doors. As you look at yourself in the mirror, you must believe you can achieve anything you want in life. Like if it's been done by another human being with enough time and effort, and emphasis on the enough time and effort, because that's us basically being like, right, cool, we know we need to learn, and we know we need to practice, we know we need effort to fuel both of those things. With that, you can go and achieve the thing. You must believe that thing. And you must also aim very high for your standards, because that's the only difference between you and the people right at the top. It's simply their standard for something. The people right at the top, their standard for something will be they must earn multiple millions a month and live in this place with this lifestyle with this partner. That's their standard because they've had a taste for it now. You must have the highest standards for yourself and always be looking to push them up. Never get complacent with the standard that you've got. I'm not saying don't be happy. Be very appreciative at every run of the ladder on the way up. I'm just as appreciative now as I was when I was 10 years ago, just about, 10 years ago when I was just a British paratrooper. I'm just as appreciated now as I am back then. I really am. I'm very grateful for life and the way it works right now. But I'm always looking to push up more and more and more, because it's not even about the levels. It's more about the fact that you're always progressing forward. And progress in anything or everything is going to bring you maximum happiness. And realistically, not to get too spiritual, but if you're just doing what you should daily, you're going to feel pretty happy. And what other human emotion do you want to feel more stronger than happiness? Really, if you're happy, your life's going to be pretty fucking good, right? So that's really, if we bottled everything down as to why do you want the thing, it's just so you can feel happy, right? And that's okay. That's a good thing to have. So you must have high standards for things, because if you have low standards for things, it spirals down the other way. Low standards will then come down to a low self-esteem, which will then come down to you taking abuse from other people because you're okay with it, because you think you're below them. Comes from a low self-worth, comes from them a low sense of self, and your life then is just ultimately lower. It's no good thing for you to lower yourself down the frequency chart and you to live a miserable life. You must simply raise your standard week in, week out in every domain of your life. Always be looking to push that standard up, because it's only going to result in bringing more happiness into your life. So they're the three things I instill in Gorilla Platoon members in order to get results like this. So if you found this useful and the concept's useful, great. Apply them into your own life. And if you found this useful, subscribe to the channel. Obviously, if you want to come join us at the Gorilla Platoon, there'll be a link in the description. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.